What's up, podcast world? I'm so excited to be recording this podcast. It's January 18th, 2025. It's like, what? January already flew by. And yeah, that's crazy. And this podcast is going to be about, I've done one before like this. It's a consultation. So new client consultation and I always send them a video going over their consultation and addressing anything and everything mentally, all the things I need to address up front. And so this was going to be a good one to record because it's so relatable. And I'm going to do this more often this year because every client that I have is 100% relatable to everybody, to my old self, to all of you. So all of these struggles that they have in all areas of life, you're going to be able to relate to. So this is going to be that kind of podcast. We'll talk about all kind of things. And I'm going to tell you what I would tell them, obviously, because literally I'll post this on YouTube and I'll have them go watch it tonight, just like I'm talking to them. So I really like these because, again, it's so relatable. So let's just dive in. This is a client that has come to me before and worked with me, had great success, and then tried on her own. Know that that's 100% normal. Know that I did that with my first coach. I was on my own for a year, hired a coach, 12 weeks, thought I could do it on my own, couldn't, came back to her. And then after another 12 weeks, I went on my own. But I also, and this is the biggest thing I want you to consider, I also I knew at that point that whatever I was doing nutrition-wise and training-wise is what God had planned for me for the rest of my life. So it was completely okay for me to stay up and research and do all the trial and errors and read till 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning, literally the first 6 years of my journey, because that's what I was obsessed with it. And to be great at anything, you have to be obsessed with it. So if you don't have that time, whether it be because you're not obsessed with it, which is 99% of the world, and a great thing, right? You hire somebody to tell you all the things that I was researching. So know that it's normal to think you can do it on your own and then not be able to. And then it's also, and I just paid my coach, Dylan, for another year. And people always ask me why I have two coaches, one for training and one for nutrition, when I do the exact same thing that they do. And one, you're always going to learn, right? You're always trying to learn, and these guys teach me every single week, and I make sure of it because I ask a lot of questions. My boundary with myself is I ask 2 questions every week to both Dylan and Chris so that I can learn, period. And I've done that for 5 years. But my thing is, this is where people get so caught up, and I see it in clients all the time when they're, a month out of their program, so 6-month or 12-month programs. When they have a month left, they start getting anxiety. That's your red flag that you do not need to stop whatever you're doing. This goes to anybody. If you have anxiety before something ends or before the next step, know that you probably just are not ready for that next step, and that's okay, And so for me, in my mind, and this is what helps you, period. And I talk about this in a couple different ways, but across your whole life, I say to myself, I'm going to have a coach for the rest of my life, period. That way, I don't even look for the end date. And if for whatever reason, next year I come up to January and I think, not even that I think, one, I got to think it and I got to know it. I got to know 100% that not only am I capable of achieving the goals that I set on my own, but I can also give my clients the same exact attention and energy they need. I give my husband the same exact attention he needs, and I can give every other part of my life that I want to. This is where I talk about life entities. Want to continue to grow, friendships, relationships, whatever it is, our house, our home, right? If I can continue those at the same pace I have been, and I can take on my own training, my own nutrition, and I can still reach the goals that I'm setting, then that is when you say, all right, well, maybe I can do it. Or again, I don't like even the word maybe, so I always correct myself, not maybe. Then I'll take it on. Then I'll take it on if I know without a doubt all of these entities of life are going to continue moving forward at the same exact pace. That's when I'll say, all right, I don't think I need a coach right now, or for moving forward. And then in 6 months, if I look back and say, none of this has moved forward, not at the pace that I want it to or the rate that I want it to, so then I'm going to go back to a coach, right? So for me, what helps me is saying, I'm never going to not have a coach. And then again, that goes, I'm never going to drink alcohol. I'm never going to stop tracking macros. I'm going to continue to do what makes me feel, think, and be my best every day for the rest of my life. And when it comes down to it, if my husband asks me on a date and he wants to go to the Mexican restaurant and I like margaritas, if the day falls within my alcohol boundaries and I want to have a margarita, I don't care if I'm on prep or in my building season. If I want to do that with my husband, then I'm going to do that, right? So having like that mindset is far, because people, what they all want balance, right? Well, you can't have balance. You don't just go from being an all or nothing person to completely having balance. That's not how it works, right? That's like literally from A to Z. You got to go to B, C, D, E, all the way up. You got to go all the way through the alphabet to get to Z. You can't even go from A to D to F to Y to Z. You cannot skip the steps, right? And the steps are going to be learning. The steps are going to be gaining trust. The steps in yourself, learning about food, learning about yourself, number one, then learn about food, learn about the science behind the body, the metabolism, hormones, learn how to train smart, learn how to stop overtraining, stop undereating, stop overeating, learn all the different parts, right? Like if you looked at it as go with the alphabet example, every part is a letter, right? And to get from A to Z, when you're an all or nothing person, you got to go through every letter. And the thing is, what takes, and I was talking to somebody the other day, I have clients that go from A to Z in a year, and I have clients that go from A to Z in 5 years, right? It just depends on where you are mentally, to be honest with you, and physically in your life. And then I also have clients that go from that think they have gotten to Z and they ain't even in M, because they keep telling themselves that they can do it on their own. And then what happens? They try it on their own and then they regress and they either come back or they just continue regressing and they just give up, right? Well, we don't want to give up. We don't want to, but you got to give yourself enough time to, and not even just give yourself enough time. You got to understand that you don't know anything about balance, one, because you've never had it, but two, about intuitively eating. People always say, I'm intuitively eating. Intuitively eating means that you can choose foods, the right foods for your body, for the energy that you need. Also the quantity and the amount, right? Along with not having any negative feelings, thoughts, or words that come out of you about your physique, your body, your health, nothing. And then I'll be honest with you, I am that way now. I better be. I've been tracking macros since 2013. I better be at that place, right? It took me a long time to get there. But outside of me, I probably know, and I know zero women, that have that can intuitively choose foods and not beat themselves up at all. They just get right back to it. Nobody, not one. And I know a lot of women, that track macros and diet, right? But I don't really know a man, to be honest with you, that does not, and this is getting into another podcast I'm going to actually record about eating disorders, and tracking macros is just another form of eating disorder. It's a disordered thought of thinking about food, right? Because it's just not a natural way of thinking. But it's a better disorder than 99% of the other ones. It at least teaches you if you want to learn. But that's the kicker. If you don't want to learn, if you just want the numbers, if you just want the outcome of the look, then you're not going to learn. So if you have had success with a coach, if you know and this goes into what makes you feel good, what makes you not feel good. So this is going to be one of the first things I get clients to do, one of the first exercises. Make your feel good list and make your not feel good list. And it is very simple. This concept is very simple. You do what's on the feel good list and you don't do what's on the not feel good list. And here's the thing, if you do what's on the not feel good list, after you have brought awareness to the fact that you don't like how you feel, you don't like how you look, you don't like what you do when you do this action, then do you want the outcome that you really say that you want, right? Because that's, to me, and this is a personal boundary and a personal rule, I can mess up, of course, I'm gonna mess up. But if I bring awareness to the fact that let's just say, eating a gummy, eating a THC gummy or weed gummy, whatever you call it, I brought awareness to that long ago that I don't like the way that I feel the next day when I'm training, because I still feel a little high, and it makes sense. You metabolize it differently. Everybody's going to metabolize it differently. And so it would stay in my system longer. And I don't want to figure out how long it stays in there because it's not that important to me. But I do know I don't want to feel any sort of out of my mind or out of control. I don't want to feel any less. I don't want to feel I have to give less to my training ever, because that's the most important thing for me. So therefore, I'm not going to eat a gummy. Not the day before a training day ever. So I figured that out one time, and I haven't since then eaten one. And that's been 5-6 years ago. And it's not that I haven't eaten one. I just haven't eaten one the day before I train. So that's my boundary. Again, going the same thing with alcohol. I do not drink before a day that I have to train, because training is going to get me the outcome that I want. Whether you're on stage or not, whether you know how you want to feel. And so going further into her consultation, she said, and let's see where I can find it. Okay. I do think about when I will eat next and when I'll eat next. I don't think about before that she eats how she's going to feel after, right? And I just did a podcast on the outcome, being outcome focused rather than goal focused. Be outcome focused. And this is a perfect example. I know that I know that my outcome is a pro bikini athlete. Is the outcome, eating a gummy just chill you out, whatever reason you come up with, the day before a training day, and possibly having to pull back on training, does that get you to the pro bikini physique? No, it don't. Everything is black and white. Don't say it kind of does. No, it don't kind of. Yes or it no. It does not. It does not. If I do that every day, and this is, I know that I'm different. I know that my mindset is different. So again, take what I'm saying, the words that I'm saying, and apply them to your life. What I am saying, though, is that does not serve the woman I'm trying to become. And so therefore, I don't allow myself to do it. It don't matter who is here and who is having fun. And it don't matter if it's going to come out or not, your system. For me, it matters. For me, it matters the outcome that I want. And then therefore, if I don't ever reach that outcome, I know 100% that I didn't do anything that compromised me achieving an outcome, right? That helps me say, no, that helps me know without a doubt that everything I achieve in my life, whether it be business or my career or my marriage or my, anything, is all in God's time, because I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do every day. I'm not doing what I'm not supposed to do. And the outcome is always going to be the outcome, right? So make your list, your feel good list and don't feel good list. And you're going to keep them for life, right? You're going to add things to your feel good list. You're going to add things to your not feel good list. And the game is, you try to do everything, or not everything, but you try to do something on your feel good list every day. And then you don't do what's on your not feel good list. And if you do something on your not feel good list more than one time, just more than once after you brought awareness to it, that's when you reflect, you stop and you reflect, do I really not like this? So one of the, and my clients will tell you, I'm big on words, and I need to do more podcasts on this, and I will. I'm big on words. you say what you mean and you mean what you say. And I'm not perfect with it. I'm learning. I learn every day, and I catch myself again saying maybe, not maybe. But your words are, if you dissect your words, then you can more clearly see what you need to do or what you not need to do. So food is my comfort. When I'm stressed, sad, food makes me feel better at the time. And then the next day I will come and I regret that I stress eat. So my question heard is, does food really make you feel better in the moment? Or is it control that makes you feel good in the moment? Because it can't be food. Not if you're not, food cannot make you feel good in the moment. And then moments later or the next day, you don't feel good. That's not how, again, that's misalignment, right? But what you can say is, when I am stressed, what helps me feel better is control, period. So I'm going to control what I can. I have my girls, we control the controllable, right? We're going to control what we can. And one, your food is always in your control, right? What you say, what you do, where you spend your time, if you can go on a walk, so switch that one thing. Food does not comfort you. Control comforts you. And control also allows you to, the next day or in the next moments, to be confident in with what your decisions that you made when you were searching for control, right? So, okay, let me keep going. The make you feel good list, having a coach, and don't be ashamed. Don't feel like you having a coach is degrading to you or says that you're ignorant or anything, like literally. And so when people say, and this is again, where your words, people that say, I know what to do, I just don't do it. Okay, so either you don't know what to do or you don't want the outcome that you continue to say that you want. So either one is okay. Just fix what you're saying so that you don't get discouraged. So if you know what to do, then either do it or don't say that you want the outcome of doing it. It's just that simple, right? Again, we set ourselves up for success or we set ourselves up for failure. You pick every day. And for me, I'm gonna set myself up for success. So I'm not going to say, I know how to get to a pro bikini athlete body. Though if I did take the time, could I learn? Of course. I can learn in a book and apply just like I did the first 8 years of my journey. But if I want to do other things, if I want to be with my clients, if I want to build my G4 community, if I want to build my marriage, if I want to do all these other things in life, and I want to build all these other areas, and I have already gotten rid of all the areas that are not serving me. So it's not like I'm over here trying to build friendships with people that are not serving me, right? Are not in alignment with me. Everything I do at this point in my life is in alignment with where I'm trying to go. And so, okay, keep going before I get off on a little spiel. Okay, so just know that asking for help does not mean you are less. Being with a coach for your whole life does not mean you have to have a coach. You just want to have one. You want to have somebody to help you along the way. Getting to the top is going to be very, very lonely if you get up there and you're by yourself. Ain't nobody going to celebrate with you, right? But just keep that in mind and don't let. And I was talking to somebody the other day. We were talking about money. We were talking about probably one of my clients, but it might have been that was not my client actually. Because there's so many times that I have talked to women and they don't join my program because of money. All right, well, unless you are about to get a job somewhere within the next year, change jobs, you're trying to change job, or you're gonna hit the lottery, or you're gonna go gamble and win some money. Unless something drastic is gonna happen, you're gonna feel like the same way. The same shitty feeling that you feel right now, you're gonna feel the same way in 6 months, in 12 months. So go get a credit card. Go get a credit card that has 0 interest I literally just got one. And I paid my gym on a credit card, the gym that I built here at home, on a credit card that had 0 interest for 21 months. So guess what? I didn't pay any interest and I got my gym. Like it's very, Dave Ramsey might not think it's very smart, but it's given me 2 years of happiness, and I didn't have to leave, and I built everything that I wanted to build for 5 years before that. I took a card and that's it. It's here now, right? So go get a credit card. Go get a credit card, and if something, especially if it's going to be life changing, I'm not saying go get a credit card and go to Vegas, go put a vacation on there. I'm saying if you know that a program or a big purchase, in my case, is going to change your life, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things, then invest in it. And you're not paying anything. I mean, it's easy. I mean, not easy, but, or it is easy. You're not even paying interest. Go do it. Like, don't let money be the reason that you continue to put yourself in a position to be unhappy and discouraged and hate your body because of money. Jesus. And look, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money at all, but you know what I do have? I have one, I feel good every day. I think good every day. I have the bare minimum at my house. I eat the bare minimum. I do the bare minimum. I don't do things I don't have to do. I do everything I wants versus needs, right? So you're going to pick and choose, right? And this kind of goes into other things as far as what you, like even tracking macros. You're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. And I say I'm going to track macros for the rest of my life. I'm going to track macros until I get to whatever goal that I'm not even clear 100% on the end goal for my own self. But for her, I put, she said, I don't do well when I count macros and I feel like I'm confined to that and I can't live my life normally. This is where I get discouraged, and in the past is where I've gotten discouraged in my past. So tell yourself that you're going to track macros for the rest of your life so that you can just every day, instead of waking up and feeling the resistance of a normal life, quote unquote, versus a not normal life because I track macros, there is no resistance there, because your new normal is tracking macros. Why? Because tracking macros helps you achieve the outcome that you're trying to get. So that's it. Again, that's getting in more alignment with who you want to be. And if you're thinking that you live in alignment with yourself right now to where you want to be, then you shouldn't even be listening to this podcast. You be in alignment with and you be confident and proud, and all the decisions that you make every day is perfect for you and the one you're trying to become. So tell yourself that my new normal is I track macros. That is my new normal. It might not be normal to the world, but do I want to look like the world? No. And so going into something I've tell a lot of people is, especially my clients when they first start tracking macros and they're going to their social events, that's part of my coaching program. I'm going to teach you how to be around your normal friends if that's who you want to hang out with while you're doing this. But let me tell you something, they're going to want you to not do it. Why? Because they're not doing it. So they're going to say stupid things to you about whatever it is. They talk about Optavia. They talk about what they're doing. You're going to try, how long are you going to try? All this stupid stuff. And I just did a podcast on this too, but my only thing I tell them is whoever it is talking to you, if they do not have the body that you want and the mind that you want, then you do not listen to them. It's that simple. And so I added the mind a couple years, like I guess a year or 2 years ago, because I usually will just say, if they don't have the body that you want, then don't listen to them. Makes perfect sense. Why would you take advice? And why would you take advice from somebody that doesn't look like you want to look? That's stupid. But I added and think like you do. When I met all the bikini girls that I have met, all of the pro bikini athletes that I have met that have a platform where young girls look at them and their mind is so messed up. I'm like, please don't look at them, right? But the young girls, or just the other women, look at these pro athletes with the body that they want, and they strive to have the body that they want, but you don't want the mind that they have, because one, that you can't have one without the other sustainably. So when you choose who you listen to in life, you're choosing based on what the person is, how they live, how they think, how they look, all of it, right? You're not going to take advice about building a business from someone who works for somebody else. That would be dumb. So apply that to everything, every part of life, right? And this even just like Instagram people, like, don't listen to them. If you don't, and then here's the other thing. If you don't know the answer, if you know that their body looks good, but you don't know how they think, you don't know how their relationship is with food, you don't know how a relationship is with their physique, their body, you don't know how their mental health is, then don't listen to them. Unless you know it all, don't listen to them. Because otherwise you're going to set yourself up for failure. That just is what it is. But if you do know, and that's a big part of why I live this life that I do, right? I lead. I don't do anything. I'm not. If I have a bad day, I'm gonna tell you about it. If I have bad body image, I'm gonna tell you about it. But here's the thing: I don't, and I've built my mind to be strong enough to be able to. I love myself all the time, and again, I have so much integrity that it would bother me if I did not say anything. So sometimes even with like my G4 community, I had to like kind of keep it quiet for a little while because I just had to make sure that it was going to be what I thought it was going to be. I was doing it by myself. I just didn't know how it was going to end up ultimately. And I still don't really know, but I know enough that if I had what I have right now for the rest of my life within this community, then I would be very happy. But even just not saying a thing about that kept me up at night because I'm just as transparent as can be. So, but not to get off track, just make sure that when you're comparing, if you're going to compare, of course I can say don't compare, but you're not going to listen to that. Compare, just make sure you're comparing and you know it all. And if they don't have everything you want, then don't look to them for guidance. It actually just helps clear. The other day I was talking to a potential client and she said, I'm interviewing, which is, there's pros and cons to this. I'm interviewing coaches. All right. So now I'm number seven coaches. Now you've talked to 7 people that probably don't do things alike. Otherwise you wouldn't have chosen these 7, right? So now you have 7 different ways in your head that you have to now sort through to figure out what way you're going to go. How much more time are you trying to waste? Jesus. And I told her, I said, I just said what I just said. I was like, quit interviewing people. Just go with who you trust. Period. And the approach when it comes to diet and exercise, you want to look at who it is. How long have they been living that way? Do I want to look like them? Do I want to act like them, think like them? And don't make it harder on yourself than it already is going to be to change. Don't put so much. You only got so much brain space. Don't put all kind of BS in there to confuse you even more. That's where everybody fails. They stay in limbo of, I don't know. So if you don't know, either figure it out and so have your decision boundary, right? Mine is 5 minutes. If I can't figure it out in 5 minutes, if I can't make a decision in 5 minutes, then it must not be that important to me. And I'm going to put it off until a concrete date. And so I'm not going to have to think about it until that date. Or I'm going to make a decision in less than 5 minutes because it's that important to me. And I know every time you are indecisive, if you just shut up and stop overthinking, you know exactly what you need to do. You just need to shut up and stop overthinking. Okay. Feel good list. Okay. Keep on going. Make a deal with yourself. So in the past, I've straight from macros and beat myself up over it. This is going back to the all or nothing. I'm nervous about not spending time with my family and friends because where food is involved because of the all or nothing approach. And again, there's different ways of going about this. I have one way is I call them life macros, where we have a life macros that we track outside of the event or outside of your whatever party, whatever you're doing. And then you make intentional choices in the party, right? That's one. And there are different ways you can approach this. So what I told her, you make a deal with yourself. And again, she's been with me for a little while on and off. And so I know that this is going to be good for her because she's already proven she can do the life macros. So she needs to get to another level. You make a deal with yourself that you will not go to a event, whether it be dinner at your mom and dad's. You will not go unless you are going to be 100% present wherever you are going, right? This is going to force you to make decisions, going back to what that, make decisions on, am I going to, one, eat food that maybe she'll use her life macros and she leaves it open. Don't have to ask her mom what she's making for dinner. We don't have to do that, right? We're just going to leave a good amount of macros open, and we're going to go and we're going to make intentional choices and decisions based on what we know we have left over. And we're going to come home and we can, even from there, we have different protocols that we can do after that. But for me, when I say we're gonna not go to our moms if we can't be present, that for me forces me to you better get control of your mind, because your mom ain't gonna be here for a long time or forever. So I'm not gonna just like I'm not gonna not go to have Mexican with my husband. I'm never gonna say no to my mom if my mom asks me to come over for dinner. But what I can say is I don't want to eat that food, and that's okay, right? So again, that's a different variable. To be honest with you, if you can't say no without your family and your friends saying, or if you can't say no, I'm not gonna eat, but I'm gonna come over without people giving you trouble, then again, align yourself with the right people. Those are not your people, right? But if I had to guess, your parents, your best friends, your sister, they shouldn't be the ones saying anything about the way that you're living if you're trying to live your life right and better, right? So the deal is, and so I do this with my nails. I did this deal with myself in 2020 after in 2018. I was at the restaurant. I was still at the restaurant. And I said, for the whole 2018, I'm going to get my nails done because I talk with my hands. And in the restaurant, my hands were always in front of people's face. So I got my nails done every other week that whole year. And it was great. It served its purpose. And then I didn't get them done. I just but here's the thing. Every time I go, because I was so, between opening the restaurant, training full time, like clients full time, training me full time, my husband, like a lot of moving parts, remodeling, just life is what it is. I never got my nails done that whole year and enjoyed it ever, because it was always just in a rush, right? But I did it because I needed to, because my hands are in front of people's face, and I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, she has some nasty ass hands. So that was important to me. And I did it anyway, as far as even when I was rushed, right? And I didn't have to go to a certain place. I didn't have to do it on a certain day. I just had to keep them done, right? To keep them to where they look presentable to people when they looked at my hands. But it was always rushed. And so I didn't, after that year, I told myself I'm never going to get my nails done and my toes done if I can't more enjoy it. And so I haven't. And then this year, my goal for this year, and I've talked about before, is I'm going to have my nails done all year long. Again, because I do a lot of podcasts, do a lot of videos, my nails I talk my hands. And I have to be able to fully be present when I do it. So if that means I don't do it, and I try to go on Mondays. It's an easier day because it's a rest day, so I get up early, get my check-ins done, get work done, and then I go in the afternoon. But this week, because the G4 launching on Wednesday, I didn't have time. It just is what it is. So I didn't have time. I did have time. I could have went, but I didn't. I had other things I wanted to do, priorities, right? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Friday, because my deal with myself is that I have to be able to mentally and just be present. Can't be anxious about the next thing. I was like, I'm just not going to go. Talking about Friday. Yesterday, I'm just going to go because I know I'll be able to I had a lot of work yesterday, had a lot of work today, and a lot of work on Sunday to do. I'll just go on Monday after I get all this stuff done. No big deal. That's the decision that I made yesterday morning. And then I got a lot of things done yesterday, and it was 5 o'clock, and I was like, you know what? I'm having anxiety right now. I'm going to go get my nails done. And that's what I did. And it felt good. And it felt good to do what I said I'm going to do, because I know that that's going to give me the outcome that I want in a lot of other areas, right? So make deals with yourself to help you grow in any way, whatever way you need to grow. I hope that story made sense. I am going to actually do maybe I'll do a post or something on that. But it's really just, how can you force yourself to be better, whether it's look better, do better, choose better, without a it's not like and I think of this example, one of my clients, we try and drink more water, right? She said, so I teach them to, by 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, have X amount based on their total that we want to hit. And one of her check-ins, she said, my deal with myself is I'm going to drink 20 ounces before my coffee in the morning. And I said, all right, well, this is what's going to happen is you're going to not drink 20 ounces. And then you're going to be sad because you like coffee. So we don't want to be sad. So let's just stick with a time. That way you're not saying this action, drinking water, has to happen for me to do this action of drinking coffee that I really like to do. We're separating that. You're not forcing yourself to do something before you can do something that you already know you like, right? So splitting or doing a time is so much better mentally for people, because then you can have your coffee and alongside that, you're going to have your water, because by 10 o'clock, you need to have at least 50 ounces down or whatever it is, and so it gives you a better opportunity to get the water in while also drinking your coffee, because that's what you like, right? Just trying to work with who you are naturally and how you work naturally. And we're going to slowly change these habits, but we're not going to change them by any extreme measure. We're going to be nice to ourselves, and we're going to figure out how is the best way to blend what we're trying to do, which is drink more water, with what we already do, which is like coffee. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Tell yourself that you're tracking macros for the rest of your life until you get to your desired physique and can maintain it consecutively for 6 months. So that way, again, people worry too much about, I'm not going to track macros forever. Just don't worry about forever. Just start and keep going. And then when you can consecutively track and you feel good and you can sustain your physique, your desired physique, I said for 6 months, then we can pull back and we can intuitively. And even, the way that I do it with clients is we'll have no untracked meals. I'll teach them how to do, like, use the life macros, this and the other. And then when they get to a certain level, we'll start doing untracked meals, and then we'll do untracked days and untracked weeks, and just everything is, again, a level, right? A, B, C, D, all the way up to Z. So before you get to where you can intuitively eat, know that there's a lot of, and be confident in your choices, and know that every day that you could have done nothing better. You could have chose better. You couldn't have done better. You couldn't have ate better. Don't think that happens overnight. Don't think that happens in a year, because it don't. And so if you just quit thinking wrong, then you would quit expecting unrealistic things. And again, that alone will set you up for success, because you're not setting yourself up for failure. Okay, talked about comfort food, outcome-based actions. So I don't think about what I'll feel like after I eat. Again, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel at the end of the day? How do you want to feel tomorrow morning? That's what makes your decisions today. And if you do that one day at a time, you're literally going to change your life. Okay, diet drink are my weaknesses, drink 1 Diet Coke, and I drink 1 energy drink every day. So let's alternate 1 day energy drink, 1 day Diet Coke. And so this, again, is a control thing. And, of course, it's a bubbly thing. It tastes good. And I know a lot of bikini girls, they drink energy drinks to suppress their appetite, which is, don't do that. And so for me, when I say alternate, because neither one of those are serving you physically. They're just serving you mentally, right? And I like to have control over I don't like to ever feel like I need to have something every day outside of what makes me feel good, right? Water, steps, food. Those 3 things I have to have every day. And so I make sure that I like them, and I like the food that I eat, because I got to have it every day. It's not like I can go a day without eating. So, but I don't like, so even with energy drinks and pre-workout, right? I like to be able to cut habits so that I don't form habits, or cut things so that I don't form habits. And especially with things that don't serve me. So energy drink is one of mine. I used to have it with pre-workout. I'd say pre-workout scoop, just dry scoop. I'd probably take like 3 a day. I don't even need energy. I'm just doing it because I haven't done that. I cut it 2023, January, or early 2023, not January, but pretty much January, February, because I competed in 2023. I cut energy drinks. I mean, I cut pre-workout and just have not had it back ever since. And I like it. And I just cut energy drinks. I'm 18 weeks out right now. I just cut energy drinks for this prep. Yeah, just because I don't like, and I'm going to actually document this prep over in my G4 community. That's going to be very, very detailed. But I like to have control over myself, of course. So, and then this is ultimately just a guilty pleasure, people call it, right? A guilty pleasure. The energy drink and the Diet Coke. And so that's fine. You want to have a quote unquote guilty pleasure one a day, right? Because there should be no guilt. Not when it comes to something that you're going to do every day. Then that's how people get to where out of control, where they're either overweight or they're drug addicts or alcoholics, because they give in to guilty pleasure too often. So alternating one day energy drinks, one day Diet Coke helps you stay in control without completely taking away what you like, because you like it. But you like it also, bring the awareness to the fact that it's not the energy. You're not getting any energy from the energy drink, if I had to guess. And damn, you're not getting anything from the Diet Coke. It's just the fizzle. It's just the little, fuzz in your mouth and the taste. So one a day, and then go get you some Crystal Light and mix with your water, right? Because that's what is the root you're trying to just like the comfort food. No, you just like control, right? It's the same thing. Okay, I know when I'm stressed and I just feel out of control of my schedule and time management, I am not the most pleasant person to be around. My negativity may lead to losing friends and family. And I'm so proud of her for saying that. My negativity may lead to losing friends and family. And one, if you are negative, because she's not a negative person, if you are negative and you lose friends and family, if you are negative in a season and you lose friends and family, then maybe they aren't your friends and they ain't your family, right? Because your family and your friends, the real ones, they're going to call you out on the negativity, and they're going to know that that's not really you. And they're going to be like, oh, well, she must be having some struggle. Let me go, let me just be her friend. So that, but the biggest thing with that is, so I have a worksheet called the Woman I Want to Be worksheet, and I'm putting it in the G4 membership this week. It's an amazing worksheet that every client has to do, and when they do it, it becomes very clear. Everything, they'll literally go from yo-yoing their macros and yo-yoing all their goals to 100% adherence to everything across the board when they do this worksheet, because it clearly makes you get clear on who you want to be, the woman you want to be. And if you know that I'm not the most pleasant person to be around, and you can admit that, then whatever that is that's causing that woman to come out, that's what you need to address, right? And I feel you 100%. Like when I was at the restaurant, I'd get up at 4 a.m. and I'd be home at 10, 11 every day. Every day. There was no break. There was no time to sit down. I'm just rolling, right? For years. And so it would be like, and so I've taken Adderall since I was 18. And throughout all the years of my life, the Adderall would go up based on life, right? So I was up to like 90 milligrams of Adderall because I worked 18 hours a day. And that's not an excuse, but I had to be very focused in these areas, and it helped my focus, obviously. And so that's what I did. And I would take it like on a Friday night, and I wouldn't take a lot, I'd take 5 milligrams at like 5 o'clock. And if I got home sooner so usually 5 milligrams for me at least lasts about 5 hours. And so to take it at 5, I usually get off around 10 or 11. But if for whatever reason I got off or left a little early, and I come home and I'd still be very wired, not because of Adderall, just because of the adrenaline, just from the day, just all the things, right? But I didn't like who I was on those times when I would come home and still be more Adderall, I guess, if you want to think like focused when I'm at home. I don't have to be that focused, right? So I didn't like that person because she was snappy. She was snappy at her dogs and her cats. They hadn't done nothing. I hadn't seen them all day long. Why am I yelling at them, right? So I didn't like that. And so that was when I started, all right, you're going to start, one, not taking it so late, or you're going to just say, now, you know what, you can go home, talking to my employees, I'll say if that was the case, right? But I knew that I did not want to be that irritable woman, not when I come home, right? So there were things that in the moment, different approaches. Again, I'm not going to say I'm not going to ever do it again at 5 o'clock, because sometimes I had to do it at 5 o'clock for me to get through the rest of the night without just a shit show of a business. So I didn't say you're not going to do that, but I did say if you do it and it comes, let's say 9 o'clock, and there's an opportunity for me to go home. If I'm not in a place mentally where I want to go home, if I'm not calm enough to go home right now, then I'm just gonna let an employee go home and I'm just gonna stay at work. Like, there's not gonna be a con. There's nothing that's gonna come of that that's bad, right? So every decision being made based on the woman that you want to be. So if you know that you're not pleasant to be around, what is making you not pleasant? Let's address that. And if it's, because all of it is always going to be you. It's always going to come back to you. Everybody thinks that I could say it's Adderall, but that was a part of it, but it was me. It was me taking the Adderall. It was me it was all me. Just like it's all you. If you don't like something that you're doing, it's always going to be you and the decisions that you keep making. So align that. Like, align the decision that you're making with what you like and what you don't like. Going back to those two lists. Okay. So this, I think we talked a little bit about this. I don't do well when I count macros and I feel constrained. That's when I get discouraged. Tracking macros is nothing but a clear boundary around food. And the thing about awareness, right? Self-awareness or just awareness in general. People don't like tracking food, not because it's tedious. It is when you don't know, when you have no knowledge of macros and how to use flexible dieting. Then yeah, it's gonna be so it is a learning curve. That's why I have the program that I have to teach you. But you really don't like to track the food because you don't want to face what you do. That is the main reason that people do not change, is because they don't want to track their food. They don't want to write how many days they drank alcohol. They don't want to write how many days they didn't go to the gym. They don't want to bring awareness to all of the actions that they're doing or not doing to give them the outcome that they have. Because then it would be very clear that it's them. And they don't ever want it to be them, right? They want to blame their hormones. They want to blame their genetics. They want to blame their husband and their kids and everybody outside of themselves. I had a client last year. This just happened. She said that my program is not working. This is someone that, the program's already worked for her a couple times, and she just kept the habits that kept making her regress. So she finally said, your program is not working. It's your program. It's your program. You're the only one that's ever said that, right? But you're the only one. She would point, and then she's blaming doctors. She blamed me. She blamed everybody else except her. And the fact that she does not want to stop drinking alcohol. She did not want to bring that awareness to that, even though I brought awareness to it for her. But it was not going to be her. And there's people everywhere. That's probably 99% of the people in the world, because if that was not, then I wouldn't have a job, because everybody could bring awareness to all the things that were messing them up in life, and then they would fix it, and then I wouldn't have a job, right? So your self-awareness is going to either change your life, or your lack of self-awareness is gonna not let you change your life. I thought I was going to go somewhere else with that, but that's it. Self-awareness is the best thing that you'll ever do. And don't ever put a cap on it. I have a lot of girls that, whether they're clients or friends, that like self-development and like personal growth, and they like bringing awareness, but they only like it in certain parts, right? They don't like bringing awareness to the fact that they don't know how to train and eat in alignment. They know how to train, but they don't know how to eat. They don't know how to eat flexibly. They do know how to eat clean. So there's always going to be, even with people that like self-growth, still be open. If you are not happy right now with anything, be open to changing everything. Like, in my consultation, one of my questions is, how willing are you to change to reach your goals? And you can scale it on I'm willing to change anything. I'm willing to not change a damn thing, or I'm willing to change some things. And the people that say I'm willing to not change, there's nobody that's going to fill out a consultation, not with me at least, that says that, because we already filtered those. Those are not my clients. The women that say I'm willing to change some things, the first thing I ask is, what are you not willing to change? Because what you're not willing to change is why you look and feel and think just like you do today. And so you have to be willing to change everything that you do. Everything. If you want a different outcome, you gotta be willing to change everything. That doesn't mean you're gonna have to change everything, but you gotta be willing. Because all you know at this point is what you're doing has brought you here. And if you don't want to be here, then don't do the thing that got you here. It's that simple. Like weight loss and change your life is that simple when you simplify it. But if you keep interviewing coaches, if you keep reading more on social media, if you keep putting things and taking up your brain space, you're never going to be able to sort through it all to just see one thing, right? And I'm going to do a whole nother podcast. This is a long podcast, so I might split this up into two. If you start thinking about, I'm going to do a whole podcast on brain space, but if you start thinking about brain space and you start controlling that one thing, you control your brain space, you can control your life. What is in there, right? And I told, my coach, Dylan, I told him this before my 2023 season. It was 2022, so 9 months out of my first show in 2023. And I made very clear with him and with Chris, I don't look at anybody, any pro athlete, I don't look at them and say, try to pose like them, try to train like them, try to eat like them. I don't do nothing. I don't study anybody except myself and my coaches. The only people in my mind, in my brain, are me, God, and my two coaches when it comes to my physique and my career goals. Those are the only two people I listen to. I don't listen to nobody else. Some people tell me all the time. I remember one time it was like #1 bikini athlete in the world. Her coach told me that I don't need to train chest. Okay. It just goes one area out the other. I like training chest. My coaches have me training chest. I look pretty damn good. So I'm not going to listen to him. I'm not going to listen to him, one, because he don't look like I want to look anyway. So going back to that, why would I listen to you? And so who is up here? Who is in your brain space right now? I want you to start eliminating them. Eliminating the opinions, eliminating the BS, eliminating the things that do not align with you. Again, going back to being able to make decisions. What decisions are in your decision pot right now? I bet you if you sat down and wrote them down, you'd be like, it's very clear. Yeah, I know what I want to do with all of these. There might be one that you might have to do a little bit more, write the pros and cons, whatever you do to make your decisions. But 99% of the time, all your decisions are already made. You know what to do. You just don't want to do it. And that's where you're losing time. That's where you're wasting energy. That's where you're wasting time, money, and energy, all of it. So don't do that. Okay, and then the last one, it's difficult for me to spend a lot of time updating different things because I'm unable to do that on days that I work. So with my program, we do have a lot of, and I don't even want to say it's a lot, to be honest with you. It's a lot when you track nothing and then you start tracking things. It's going to be more. It's going to be new. If you hadn't used Google Sheets, it's going to be, that's it. That's just new. It's just new and it's efficient. But some people say it's a lot. But the ones that do it, they get damn good results. But anyway, the thing about this exact thing is, if the outcome that you want is I want to change my physique, then you're going to do the work that allows you to change your physique. And you're not working, there's nobody in this world that is working so much. And because ultimately, you have time. And I even have I have clients send me a screenshot of how much time they've spent on social media. How much time do you spend on social media? How much time are you wasting? Then we go into time management, right? You have time. You just ain't efficiently using it, especially when you work 3 days a week. This little one, she's a nurse. So you do have time. And, I made it to where it's everything. And, whether it's my program or not, everything right now is online. You could easily do things online. You don't have to sit down and do it all at one time. You can do it every day, or you can do it every other day, or whatever it is. But unless you're planning to change your jobs, then don't expect time to just open up. You got to open it up yourself. You got to make time for what's important to you. And if the outcome of what this data is going to get you is the outcome that you want, then the action of doing the outcome, or the action of doing the variables and log of the data, that's a non-negotiable. If you want the outcome of what the data brings, then getting the data is a non-negotiable. Is that easy? And if you don't want to, then that's fine. Then you don't want the outcome. Again, everything is very black and white when you strip it down to the realness. If you are not willing to do the work to get the outcome that you want, then you don't want the outcome. You might want it a little bit, but you gotta want it a lot of bit. You gotta want it a lot of bit enough to change yourself. So, okay, I'm not gonna keep you any longer. I'm excited for this podcast and all the other podcasts. I'm just excited right now because my G4 community is like killing it. I'm proud of all these women. If you haven't seen me on Instagram talking about my G4 community, it's actually going to be linked below here. It's a free community. I talk about mindset, nutrition, training. I have free workouts. I have a lot of free things in there. And then I have my monthly membership, my Grace and Grit membership, which is $40 a month. And that's just more worksheets, more knowledge, more training, more all the things. But this platform is just a community of women that are all very similar, all doing and loving the same thing. And so I just launched this year. It's only 18 days old, and I'm really excited because it's already growing more than I thought it was going to grow. And so that's all I could expect, right? And so yeah, if you have not heard about it, go listen to it. I have a YouTube, like a Loom on my YouTube about it, just kind of showing you around. It's it's awesome. It's just like a social media, except there's no negativity, you're not going to be comparing. You don't have to navigate through all the negativity. It's just hear knowledge about nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, competing, food, all the things that I do. Okay, so y'all have a great Saturday, and I hope that any feedback, like always, drop it below. I'm an open book and love feedback. So I'll see y'all next time, or I'll listen to y'all next time.